Well, people might say that pastors shouldn't talk about religion and politics out of the same mouth or in the same breath, but you know, pastors are still citizens, and we are still voting Americans, and we talk about politics, and we talk about religions, and we talk about Christianity. There is a big difference between Christianity and religion, and we've been hearing from a lot of religious people this week that seem to have a problem when we're talking about being light in the darkness and being salt on this earth that Jesus, of course, told us to be. Terry, I've even seen some articles this week talking about you spreading hate. I was there in the service last Sunday, and what a fine attendance we had, a record attendance as a matter of fact. You've had over 100 requests for CDs of the message, and this morning we had another great crowd back to hear part 2. It is really interesting how this seems to upset people who are religious, and we hear just a lot of criticism. What do you think about what's happened this week?
Well, I'm never surprised to hear from the left and the liberals. You know, they don't want anybody to say anything that opposes them, and especially a pastor, and they feel like that a pastor has no right to complain or even talk about politics in any form or fashion. They want you just to preach the gospel only. We've heard from some Southern Baptists that feel that way, and that's a real tragedy, in my opinion. They don't understand Scripture, but not only just so much the liberals, Joe, you know, and liberals do go to churches, by the way. They do go to mainline denominational churches. But it's been the religious people that has amazed me the most, honestly. It's been people that go to churches. I've had people challenge my passion. They say, you know, it seems like you have more passion for politics than you do preaching, and that's very offensive to me.
Well, they only come to Summit every Sunday. Maybe they know a little different.
Well, and our church is about people being saved.
Amen.
And today people being healed in the service, and the power of God in that place, and the emphasis on the cross and the blood. And
well, I'm just amazed, though. You take one Sunday and you say that you're going to talk about President Obama and the socialist agenda that is opening the door for the Antichrist here in America. And I mean, we've been preaching this for years. Back when George W. Bush was president, there were some things he did that were certainly not what we would have him do as Christians, and what we felt was opening the door for the Antichrist. And it happened back during Clinton's administration. I mean, we could go back to Nixon. We could keep going back. I mean, when prayer and Bible readings were taken out of the school and our politicians stood by and allowed something like that to happen, and the church stood by, I mean, the church has without a doubt even opened the door for us to see the Antichrist on the scene.
Well, they have, and George W. Bush's father was one of the worst. He was a
one world government
person. He promoted that, and he used his pulpit to the bully pulpit to try to spread that kind of stuff. But there's no question in my mind that the sitting president we have today is far more evil and far more committed to a one world government. And it's interesting. When I first started preaching, Joe, many years ago, I knew that the Antichrist, which means instead of Christ, was going to come. I knew that we would have a cashless society. The Bible talks about the mark of the beast, and I knew that the people that were left behind facing the Antichrist were going to have to take the mark of the beast. And I knew all these things because the Bible teaches them. If you really seriously study the Bible, you understand that prophecy is a major part of the Scriptures, and that this is going to be fulfilled, whether we like it or not.
And don't people that study prophecy, people who claim to be Christians and people who claim to study the book of Revelation, wonder what they say about the fact that America is never mentioned? We never hear anything about the United States in Bible prophecy. There's no one in there that really we point to and say, hey, that's America, and we really believe it's because America is in her last days, because we are becoming more evil and more evil all the time, and we're allowing the Antichrist to come on the scene. We're not standing up as we once did for morality and for Christian virtues. Our forefathers stood in the pulpits and really got people involved and motivated to really be involved in fighting for our freedom and doing whatever they needed to do. I wonder if they were ever accused of being hate spreaders.
Well, what's interesting to me, I've heard from some of the people on the left, and we've heard from a lot of people. They filled up our emails. And by the way, I just need to make this statement. For every liberal phone call, every complaint we've had 2 to 1 conservatives.
Amen.
I don't want to hurt your feelings out there, but the conservatives have really responded, and that's usually the way it is, because the liberals in Kansas are in the minority.
You know, you wouldn't know that though reading the Wichita Eagle.
No, they print
Letters to the editor. I don't see them printing any of the good ones, and
No,
I've had
no.
a number of folks tell me they've sent
Exactly.
good letters.
Exactly, but you know, that's the way it goes. But here's the interesting thing about Obama. His administration, and I've watched it be fulfilled from Scripture, is absolutely opening wide the gates. I mean, the others cracked it open a little bit. Obama is not offended by being a socialist or being a part of socialism. And what amazes me, some of these moderate people who go to church, some of you that were offended the most, you were offended by the term socialism. What in the world do you people out there think he is promoting? I mean, Joe, you'd have to be blinded not to see that Obama is all about socialism.
People are blinded today. People want to hear just messages that tickle their ears, and the scriptures say in the last days we're going to have those kinds of people. People don't want their pastors making waves. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want their conscience to be pricked. You know, we aren't preaching all of the word in most churches today, and that's the reason that we have the lukewarm society we have, and that's why really the church today, you know, you look at statistics for abortion, you look at statistics for divorce, you look at statistics for people addicted to pornography and drugs, you can't really tell any difference between the church and the world today.
Well, and again, my biggest disappointment, and that's been true in this battle all along, you know, this is not new to us, and by the way, as you shared with the church, and I thought you did such a great job sharing with them, we're very well aware of what we can do. I know there were people there watching, there were lots of people there, Obama fans. In fact, I heard that you ran into an Obama fan at the summit.
Oh, I had a lady came up to me last week when you were preaching that message. Right afterwards, I was out in the foyer, and she came up to me, and she looked like she was floating. I don't know what she was on. She looked like she was on something. That's just my observation. But she said, I want you to know I'm a citizen of the world, and I'm a daughter of the earth. And she said, I love President Obama. And she said, I just came today because I thought it was interesting to find out what the other side is saying. And I said, well, bless you. I hope you learned some truth today. And she took off.
Well, Obama has said many times, and he's been very clear about it, that he's a citizen of the world.
Okay, well, we've got about
and I
a
think
minute
he
left
absolutely
before
has
we
a
go to
pack or something.
commercials.
By the way,
I'll
just
put
for
you
the
on hold,
record,
though.
I know some of the media may be listening tonight. We never instruct
Right,
people
can
how
we
to
just-
vote.
I'll
We deal
do
with
that
the
after the
issues.
break.
We tell them
About five-
who
it'll be about
we're
5
Well, we
minutes
do
before-
tell them how to vote.
Yes,
We
sir.
tell them to vote their conscience.
and from a biblical perspective, is our
Exactly.
encouragement to do
And
that.
there's nothing wrong with that. Terry, you know, we've investigated this. We've been involved in this fight forever. So have a lot of other people around the United States. There are many fine attorneys who know the Constitution in and out, and they know what we can say and what we can't
They
say.
know the IRS
We know that
standards.
we can't use money given to the church to help elect a candidate, and we know we can't officially say our church supports so-and-so.
Right.
But we can certainly expose records of voting. We can certainly tell people that